these are players that, aren't rostered in a ton of leagues even, definitely are not, startable every week, but that we think could exceed their weekly expectations in any given week. Who you got this week, Rich?
I'm taking the lay. I'm playing the week 16 card and not going super down the well and taking kind of an obvious one. And I'll say Jalen McMillan.
Yeah, there you go.
Because I just, what happened last week was what you needed to have happen.
Yep,
You know,
100%.
we needed to see Jalen McMillan deliver in a game where Mike Evans delivered. And that was the last box that needed to be checked. We do like too that, he's attached to a quarterback that throws a lot of touchdowns over expectation 2 years in a row, and Baker Mayfield, and is back to playing well since the bye. We both had a little bit of trepidation about the Bucs last week, playing in Los Angeles, and man, Baker was awesome in that game. And you like too that McMillan, he has the 3 touchdowns, which you're not always going to count on, but they were specifically plays designed and schemed for Jalen McMillan, which you also like. It's not like the Quentin Johnston thing. Like Quentin Johnston has like 6 touchdowns this year where I'm like, that's not a real touchdown. Like, like McMillan has like plays that are actually designed for him to be the benefactor and score touchdowns on. And you like that happened. But the fact that he had a 23% target share in a game where Mike Evans also got targeted a lot was like the final hurdle that we needed.
Yeah, and I think the thing we missed last week when we talked about him, because you rightfully said, similar to the Jalen Tolbert situation earlier this year, that if, McMillan's probably not going to out target Mike Evans most weeks, but there were other avenues for him to continue getting targets after that performance, including, Sterling Shepard, who has his own injury, Cade Otton, who now he missed practice right on Wednesday. And so now we have another situation there with him. And so there were other people getting targets that he could take targets from, and we saw that happen. And now we've seen 2 weeks in a row him get those targets. And so you really like to see that. The matchup, with the Cowboys is good. I think the total in that game is what, like 49 points? I
Yeah.
have it right here.
You play
If
on
I scroll
FanDuel,
down.
it's the
So
highest total on the FanDuel main site.
yeah. Yeah, ESPN right now has it at 48.5, so down a little bit from I think where it was, but still, like that's a pretty good total. So I agree. He was on my list. I went a little bit lower with AD Mitchell, simply because, and I think I've used him before
I've tried
this
this a
year.
few
But
times with DFS too, so I hope
yeah,
that you.
well, I definitely have done. I luckily I got a 6 for 71 one of the times. But like the thing is this is when AD Mitchell is running routes, he gets targets. And so at some point
Mhm.
that is a good thing. Among receivers with at least 150 targets, he is 8th. Think about the receivers we're talking about, like the best receivers in the league. He is 8th in target per route. So he's 26.8% of his routes have resulted in a target. He gets targets when he's on the field. It's a little bit lower with Richardson at quarterback, but it's still 25.5. We expect Alex Pierce to miss this game due to a concussion. Mitchell had as many targets as Josh Downs in the second half against the Broncos. He went 6 for 71 when Michael Pittman missed in week 10. He has versatility. We saw him early in the season when Down was out, play in the slot. Now we've seen him when, Pittman was out and Pierce was out, play more outside. And I think the most important thing is he's getting that volume on the types of targets that you can hit a fantasy week on one play. His air yards per target with Anthony Richardson this year is 16, just over 16 air yards per target. These are deep targets. Anthony Richardson, can hit on those. We've seen him hit on those. His throw to throw consistency is not there, but we've seen him create those big plays, specifically to Alex Pierce, who we expect Mitchell to kind of be replacing here. So I think you're going to get targets for him. You're going to get high upside targets for him. Will they hit? Well, that's the question we've been asking
Yeah.
for the Colts passing game, this entire season. But you're at least getting targets from him, and you're getting high upside targets. And so if you're in a really, tough spot in a deeper league, or like you said in DFS, there's an argument here for him to have a decent game by his standards.
And I actually think that the bull case for AD Mitchell is stronger than it was a couple weeks ago when Josh Downs missed the game against the Patriots, because Alec Pierce missing the game means that he's going to play in 2 wide receiver sets, extension of what the conversation we had with Jaden Reed. Because when
Yep.
Michael Pittman missed the game earlier this season against the Bills, AD Mitchell was on the field for 95% of the dropbacks because he played Pittman's position. He's going to be now playing Alec Pierce's position, which again, like Josh Downs is still going to be in his position. So
Yeah.
in the 2 wide receiver set stuff. So it's even better than it was for AD Mitchell to earn targets than a couple weeks ago, because he's going to be running those routes where he's going to be in the 2 wide receiver set stuff and just be on the field more than 2 weeks ago, and then the start of the year when Downs missed the opening of the year when he was still running from the slot.